Now when we move over to nighttime video, we've got 4K 60 and 1080p 30 in the OnePlus 8 Pro. You can see the Galaxy does a better job with the front-facing camera. 4K 60, you can see me a little bit clearer. It's less fuzzy, and also the image is a bit sharper with the Galaxy S20 Ultra over the OnePlus 8 Pro in terms of low light video. Now when it comes to the iPhone and the Huawei P40 Pro, both images are not that great, and I think this is where both of them need to work on. The Huawei P40 Pro is a little bit sharper, or you could say clearer if you will. I wouldn't say sharper, but in terms of just recognizing what you're looking at, unless you don't know who I am or you can't see my teeth, then you really can't see anything clearly unless you get in more light into the situation. So not good for me there. Well, the front-facing camera, this is of course where Samsung really shines here. The S20 Ultra's front-facing camera is really just solid. You can see how sharp it is. You can see details on my face as opposed to the much softer image on the OnePlus 8 Pro. It's a better image, but I would like to see more improvements there. The S20 Ultra image really stands out of all the cameras here. When we move over to 11 Pro Max, which of course doesn't have a low light camera for the front-facing camera, it's much grainy, even though it's a little bit brighter than the Huawei P40 Pro. The P40 Pro has sharper details in the background, a little bit fuzzier on my face. So that's just something to take note in terms of just how it looks. But again, the Galaxy pretty much wins this department. And then you have myself and my girlfriend here trying to see, of course, two different skin tones to front-facing camera. The S20 Ultra does a better job. You can see both of us clearly, besides, of course, our teeth, and as opposed to the OnePlus 8 Pro here. But in this situations, you're going to be using, of course, a flash, just the best thing here, because even though this is not as dark as you might think, but it's a dark environment. And here, the P40 Pro is a bit brighter than the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which pretty much has washed out this whole scene together and is very grainy image. So for me, the S20 Ultra front-facing camera in low light conditions really hits the mark and takes things to the very next level. Now, talking about rear video quality, 4K 60 in both cameras, the OnePlus 8 Pro images here is much sharper and also a bit brighter than the Galaxy S20 Ultra. The S20 Ultra image, even though it's in focus, seems a bit softer, especially when you're moving past the center point. So I like what OnePlus has brought to the table with its 4K 60 low light video. Just walking down the street, you can clearly see how, and also the stabilization on the OnePlus 8 Pro is better than the S20 Ultra. Again, this is something we know Samsung's bringing updates, but it's not here yet. So OnePlus 8 Pro definitely wins this round with its camera. Now the Huawei P40 Pro is a much brighter image, I think brighter than all of them altogether. The iPhone is kind of same quality as the S20 Ultra, but the iPhone stability is really solid. The P40 Pro kind of sways quite a bit, and also it's a bit grainy on the image here, but in terms of overall brightness, the P40 Pro gives you a much brighter video image, as you can see the guy walking past there, and also, you know, taking in more from the street lights and things like that. So that's quite interesting to see. But I think for me, the OnePlus 8 Pro low light video is actually probably the best here, at least I don't know what you guys think, but you know, leave those comments down in the comment section. As we move over to the rear camera here, this is a photo taken, of course, outside. The OnePlus image is really nice and sharp. There's a lot of details to it. While the Galaxy image is also sharp, it's bringing in a lot of light in to light out the boards on the side. So there are certain areas that have more light in the Galaxy. The Galaxy has a lot of sharpness on the building itself at the very top. The OnePlus image is a bit darker and toned. And when we look at the P40 Pro and the 11 Pro Max, both of them are much brighter images than both the OnePlus and the Galaxy, just in terms of overall brightness. But there's a lot of light leaking coming from those lights by the door, which is adding to the image as well. I think all four images look pretty good, but for me, I would actually go with either the S20 Ultra or the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now with the ultra wide camera here, you can see the OnePlus 8 Pro. It's a brighter image, but not as bright as the Galaxy, and also the Galaxy keeps a lot of detail as well. So there's a lot of detail, there's good shadow balance here, and I think the Galaxy image is much better. As you know, the iPhone doesn't have ultra wide and low light, so of course the P40 P40 Pro it's better, but this is something that P40 Pro has been doing to me, where it takes away the colors from the buildings and keeps it in this very kind of gray neutral tone as opposed to what we saw from the Galaxy. Now this is trying to just recreate a club setting. This is a very difficult lighting setting, and you can see the Huawei and the iPhone 11 Pro Max do a good job. I think the Huawei does a little bit much better just recognizing skin difference there as opposed to what the iPhone does, while the Galaxy really failed in this environment here. This is something where the OnePlus 8 Pro did a much better job. I would say it would be Huawei, OnePlus, iPhone, then the Galaxy coming last, where it just could not balance out the lighting. And our final shot here, it's outdoors, the low light, same place where we took that front-facing shot. The P40 Pro is really nice. The iPhone's also pretty solid. P40 has a little bit more of a brighter image here. The iPhone has darkened the jacket outdoors. The hair also looks good. It's a bit fuzzy, but again, it's a low light shot, so I do like what they represent here. And then with the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Galaxy S20 Ultra, both of them come up pretty well. You know, there is a lot of good clarity with the image. Subject is clear. The Galaxy is kind of you know, just darken the skin tone a little bit, while the OnePlus is brightening it up, but the jackets are both black. It's much darker with the Galaxy. The hair texture on the Galaxy looks much better than the OnePlus 8 Pro, but I think again, really solid low light images. You can see the clouds quite clearly and the buildings. I think the Galaxy does much better with the background as well. Alright guys, yes, this was a long video, but we've got to see the OnePlus 8 Pro camera in action. Dual 48 megapixel sensors, ultra wide at 120 degrees, and I have to say that the cameras have lived up to what OnePlus has said. It's here to play with the big boys. It hangs around pretty well, and there are some areas that of course it definitely needs improvement. But overall, the OnePlus 8 Pro camera will suffice as a top tier camera for a top tier device. I'd like to see improvements, of course, with the front facing camera, with of course better video at 4K 60 instead of 1080p 30 frames per second, and also better edge detection as well with that front facing camera. Maybe some color science as well to be improved. I know they do have a color sensor, but to me it didn't do anything for the camera. But I think overall though, if you're picking up the OnePlus 8 Pro, you won't feel disappointed with the camera it has to offer, especially with its video recording, 4K 60 with a rear camera with daytime and nighttime, and some of the images that we saw were actually pretty good. So if you have any questions or any comments about the OnePlus 8 Pro or any of the devices you see here and you want to see more, leave a comment down below. Otherwise guys, don't forget to stay safe and always enjoy your entertainment.